This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Gitsky. Well, a day after his conviction of murder, former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin remains jailed. The 45-year-old former police officer was convicted of 3 criminal charges related to the death of George Floyd. He'll be sentenced in 8 weeks. Chauvin faces up to 40 years in prison for second-degree unintentional murder, the most serious charge. Because he has no prior felonies, state sentencing guidelines recommend a range of around 11 to 15 years for his crimes. Meantime, more reactions are coming in. The day after a jury convicted the ex-Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin on all counts, Donald Williams, who witnessed Floyd's murder, spoke on the Today Show of his relief after the verdict and his emotional testimony.
Man, it was a sigh of relief off my shoulders. Like, it was a lot of weight on my shoulders, and for me, myself, and my kids and my family, it was just relief, to hear that the verdict came down the way it did. And I wouldn't say joy, because it's a lot of work still to be done, but it was a lot of relief off my shoulders.
That journey doesn't just begin today. It's been happening for quite some time, but the truth is we have a whole lot of work to go. Of course, there's a sense of relief right now in our city, but there's also a sense of purpose. There's a sense of purpose to push back on these 400 years worth of injustice that we've seen.
Now, that was Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. He says that the conviction is just the beginning of a much needed change. Now, in your 17 Crime Watch, one person is dead after a late-night shooting in Northeast Bakersfield. Kern County Sheriff's deputies say they responded to reports of a shooting in the 1000 block of Water Street. That's right off River Boulevard and Columbus Street, just after 11:50. Now, KCSO says they found the victim unresponsive and not breathing. The victim died at the scene. There is no suspect information at this time. If you know anything about this shooting, you're urged to contact the Kern County Sheriff's Office. That number is 861-3110. And the family of a man shot to death at a Bakersfield motel is asking for help bringing his body home for a funeral. Corey Michael Fisher was a father of 4 from Michigan. Fisher was fatally shot at the Rosedale Inn on Buck Owens Boulevard Sunday night. His sister-in-law, Samantha Fisher, says he was in town visiting friends the weekend he was killed. According to police, an argument broke out in the parking lot between Fisher and an unknown person. Witnesses told police that the person shot Fisher once and drove off with a woman in a dark, early 2000s model Ford Crown Victoria. If you'd like to donate to the effort, we have a link to the GoFundMe on our website, kget.com. Meantime, anyone with information about the shooting can contact the Bakersfield Police Department at 327-7111. And in your 17 Court Watch, the man accused of raping and murdering 13-year-old Patricia Alatorre has had his case pushed back by 4 months. 24-year-old Armando Cruz is now scheduled for a preliminary hearing on August 10th, in which the judge will determine if there was enough evidence to hold a trial. Cruz is accused of raping and killing the teenager last summer after driving to Kern County from Southern California. He's pleaded not guilty to his charges and faces the death penalty if convicted. Meantime, trial continues for the man accused of murdering a local attorney. Nicholas Quintana is charged with first-degree murder and other crimes in the brutal 2017 slaying of Vargas, a young attorney with Greater Bakersfield Legal Assistance. Prosecutors say Quintana and Vargas met on a dating app, and Vargas invited the then 19-year-old to his apartment. That's where, according to prosecutors, Quintana stabbed Vargas, inflicting deep wounds to his neck. On Monday, the former girlfriend of Quintana testified their relationship seemed, quote, normal, and she noticed nothing unusual in his behavior either before or after the slaying of Marcos Vargas. She testified only for several minutes and is expected to be called back later in the trial. The defense and prosecution are expected to finish presenting evidence late this week or early next. Well, our KGET homicide tracker logged a record-breaking 139 killings in 2020. And today, Kern County is remembering those lives lost. The district attorney's office is hosting an honor and remembrance drive today. It's part of Victims' Rights Week. Poster photos of the victims will be seen outside of the courthouse for anyone driving eastbound on Truxton Avenue. That event will be happening from 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. The drive is happening instead of the march that is usually organized for Victims' Rights Week because of the pandemic. Well, a silver alert has been issued for a missing Bakersfield woman considered at risk. 70-year-old Linda Anderson. She was last seen on Nicholas Street and Fairview Road around 11:30 yesterday morning, according to California Highway Patrol. Anderson was wearing a blue and white shirt, black pants, and black sandals. CHP says Anderson is considered at risk because she has a medical condition and may have become disoriented. If you see her, you are urged to call 911. And police need your help in finding a missing at-risk teen. According to Bakersfield Police, Maya Martinez was last seen yesterday on Townsley Avenue. BPD says this is the first time the 13-year-old has run away. She is 4 foot 9 inches tall, 125 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen in a black t-shirt and blue sweatpants. If you've seen Maya Martinez, call 327-7111. Well, happening today, the Bakersfield Police Department is conducting another DUI driver's license checkpoint in an effort to save lives. As in past operations, officers will set up at an undisclosed location within city limits between the hours of 6 p.m. tonight and 2 a.m. tomorrow morning. The department also reminds drivers that a DUI arrest can include jail time and other expenses that could exceed $10,000. As always, if you see a suspected impaired driver, call 911. Well, President Biden gave an update on the response to the COVID-19 pandemic and the state of vaccinations today. The remarks come as all adults in every U.S. state, Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico are now eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine. This meets the April 19th deadline that President Biden set in the past 2 weeks. According to officials, the U.S. has administered first dose vaccines to more than 131 million people, and the Centers for Disease Control says about 84.3 million have been fully vaccinated. And a reminder, one of the easiest ways to sign up to get a vaccine here in Kern County is to use the state's website. That's myturn.ca.gov. You can also call that number on your screen. That's 833-422-4255.
Clinica Sierra Vista is now offering rapid COVID-19 testing and COVID-19 vaccinations. Call 833-278-4584 to make your appointment. But don't delay. Clinica Sierra Vista, putting patients first.
Now 17 News is your local election headquarters. Kern County is getting ready to redraw the boundaries that define the balance of power in politics. After the 2020 census, officials are about to change the district lines to match Kern County's growing population. Their first meeting to discuss the redistricting is happening tonight. But before changes are set in stone, the county is hosting online public hearings to hear your thoughts. You can call the number on your screen to leave a 2-minute voicemail or email redistricting@kerncounty.com. For more information, visit kerncounty.com. Bakersfield still ranks among the most polluted cities in the nation. Out of more than 200 metropolitan areas, Kern ranks #1 for annual particle pollution, second for high ozone days, and third for 24-hour particle pollution. The report covers data from 2017 to 2019 from the American Lung Association. 7 other California cities are also listed among the most polluted cities in the country, including areas of Fresno and Visalia. This air quality puts several groups at risk, including those with asthma, lung cancer, seniors, and children. Now, to see the full report, head to our website, kget.com. Now, speaking of poor air quality throughout the Golden Empire, it faces us with a tough decision. Get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather, or stay inside away from those harmful particles. Now, Jessica Myers, a health and herbal expert, is back to explain what dangers lie in that polluted air. Good afternoon, Jessica.
Hi, Nicole. So like you mentioned, most people are familiar with the increased risk of asthma when you live in areas with poor air quality, but the risks are more than just lung deep. Those small particles enter the body when you inhale polluted air. They enter and get trapped in the lungs, where they set off a domino effect of inflammation and DNA damaging oxidative stress. It's this chronic inflammation and damage which is what concerns us, because it is a driver for everything from arthritis and weight problems to diabetes, heart disease, and cancer.
Now, those are obviously some very serious consequences just from breathing that air. Now, what are some steps we could take, to stay safe, even if we are going to spend time outdoors?
I have 3 easy tips for you. First, use common sense. If it is very windy, like parts of the county are today, or the air quality is otherwise especially bad, like during fire season, don't exercise outdoors. Next, you want to work on optimizing your indoor air quality as well to give your body a break that it needs from the polluted air you encounter outdoors. A high quality air purifier is key because your indoor air can easily become a problem when dust and chemical off-gassing from furniture and building materials builds up. And then you really want to work on optimizing your body with anti-inflammatory nutrients that help to counteract the damage. There are numerous studies that support the role of vitamin C, omega-3 fatty acids, and sulforaphane for reducing the negative health effects of air pollution. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant, which can be found in highest quantities in fresh, colorful fruits and vegetables. Omega-3 fatty acids have an anti-inflammatory effect, and we can get those from wild-caught fatty fish like salmon. And then finally, sulforaphane is a compound that comes from cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, but it's even more concentrated in broccoli sprouts. And it aids in detoxification and helps to reduce the inflammatory effect of pollution. And while we aim to get as much of these from food, high-quality supplements are also available and can be considered for all of these key nutrients.
Definitely some really simple, easy tips, to help protect us if we are going to head outside and deal with that unfortunate air quality we have to deal with all the time. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us. The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.